What did you say?
Going in. Welcome to WindHippieSailing. I am single-handing migrant 27 around the world. I started my trip in Maine with a very cold 10-month overhaul of my entire boat. Solo sailed through the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, 41 days alone across the Pacific, and now I am sailing in French Polynesia, trying to learn French, living the castaway lifestyle of my dreams, and doing a bunch of awesome sailing. On board the Geck, I have no fridge, water maker, fancy electronics, and my dinghy is a rowboat with a sail rig. Currently, my videos lag a couple months behind where I am in real space and time, so if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing in my daily life, check out my Instagram @BoatLizard. I'm joined in my adventures by fellow single-hander Jarne Schmidt. He is from Belgium. He left 2 years ago on his Belgian-built Spirit 32. We met in Panama a little over a year ago, and we've been buddy boating through the Pacific ever since then. I see the problem. The problem is I need to get in there. Also, I see the other problem. 5 days earlier, Jarne and I decided to leave the Tuamotus Islands and head for the Marquesas, which are about 500 miles to the northeast, to make our fortune in the green hills full of fruits and vegetables.
Alright, we're leaving for the Tuamotus Islands through a tiny pass. Yeah, normally it's scary, but Holly just passed through with full sail. I shut my pants in her place. Yeah, exciting! See my pants. Current should be outgoing. Depth 6 meters now. 4.5. Woohoo! And super pretty.
The passage to Fatuhiva took 4 days, and it was a little rough and very squally. I got caught in one 40-knot squall for a couple hours and didn't pick up my camera once the whole trip, so there you go. But luckily Jarne filmed leaving the pass, and once we got to Fatuhiva, it was all worth it. So we just went on a walk in Fatuhiva and came back with this bag full of delicious fresh pamplemousse given to us by a lovely local man, and in exchange we are giving him some old rope. And then we also came back with bananas that someone gave us and mangoes, and it was this woman that we met walking on the road, and so we haven't had vegetables for about a week in the Tuamotus. We were really excited. I found on this tree these tiny mangoes that aren't ripe. There's a mango salad that we learned how to make here from some local Marquesians, and you cut it up green and you add what they call bonbon chinois, which is this little powder. And I was all stoked. Oh my god, we're gonna have vegetables. And this lady just laughed at me and she was like, yeah, that's disgusting. You can't use the tiny mangoes. Here, have some normal sized ones. So I guess the tiny ones are only good ripe. So she picked these off her tree for us, and then also these bananas off the banana stalk. So we went for a walk and came back with this much fruit.
So much!
All for
Finally!
$0 and some rope. And we also bought, this guy finds the wood on his property and hand carves these tikis. Look how beautiful.
Family presents.
Presents for the family.
Which one do you want?
Oh, I want this one.
Alright, I want that one.
Fatuhiva is the southernmost island in the Marquesas island chain and has a nasty reputation for huge gusts that funnel through the mountains katabatically up to 50 knots. So I was a little nervous and wanted my anchor to be very well dug in. However, as soon as I arrived, I put the engine into neutral, dropped my anchor, and then went to go set it, and it would go into idle reverse, but then it would stop, and I wasn't able to get any revs on my engine. So the anchor never was set properly, and I quickly discovered that the problem was that one of the cables had come off the backside of the engine. So what was supposed to be an idyllic welcome to paradise turned into an entire day of ripping apart the engine compartment and trying to figure out what was going on. Alright, so the problem is that is supposed to be in here. And I'm trying to figure out if the threads broke off or if I just have to re-thread it, and if I do, then I have to take this off. And also it's really confusing as to how this came unthreaded when neither of these twists. Yes. I can re-thread it if I get this little guy off. But I don't know how this thing comes off. Maybe I'll try to take a picture from under it and see what the underbelly looks like.
Is it easy to get them out?
Depends what you're trying to do. It's easy to see. But I won't be able to apply much strength because I can't get my body next to it. But alright, so I've assessed. I took a bunch of photos and I'm sending them to the expert, aka my dad, and he can tell me what to do next. I am in very unfamiliar territory here, so I don't want to do anything too hastily that will hurt the engine. I'm just gonna leave everything taken apart and see what he has to say. The internet here is good enough to send pictures and voice memos, but not good enough for actual talking. So we're just gonna voice memo each other back and forth. Hopefully he's around soon-ish. Otherwise, we have about 1 million bananas that need to be made into banana bread. So we'll do that next after I wash my hands. That's all for now, folks. Now let's go pick some banana bread. It looks better than it might have been, but I really am not sure. No broken off pieces at least. So I think we just have to try to put it back together instead of having to replace the whole thing, which there aren't any places to do that here, so that would have been a bummer. We only have 3 left. Yeah, bananas. Okay, my dad has spoken. He's come back with some information, and he said that this little articulating guy here comes off if you twist these wings on it, and then I should be able to screw this onto here and then put it back on to the arm. And he said if the threads are buggered, to epoxy it into place, and then if they're not, to mouse it in, just to make sure that it actually stays on for the next time. So first thing is WD-40. So I just got this guy off. This little thingy has the pin, that's the collar you saw, that goes through this and attaches it on. So here are the threads. The threads that are no longer, that's probably the problem. I don't know if you can see in there, but they're pretty much worn away. So I think that is the issue, which means I might have to make up some epoxy. But first I'll see if it threads on or not. So this is threading on, even though the threads are really worn. I think they're worn to the point where it can jiggle off, but they're not totally gone. So what I'm gonna do is, Yarna just told me he has some Loctite on his boat. I'm gonna Loctite on here, put this on, screw it into place. Then once it's together, I'm going to mouse it from behind the bolt to in front of this guy, and then put it onto here, and hopefully that will keep everything together. So I thought this project was going to be a lot worse than it actually is. Thankfully, it's just a question of bad threads on the engine side. I'm not gonna have to replace anything, and this jury-rigged fix should work. If I am ever finding myself in a place where these might be available, maybe Tahiti, then I will take this off again and go looking for a new one. But otherwise, I think my jury-rigged fix will probably work forever.
I even found a specific Loctite for it.
Woo! Is it called jury rig your engine tight?
Yes, it's Dutch.
Loctite. Thank you. Nice. This is gonna be awesome. It's the one that never comes undone.
It's the one that you use on like bolts and nuts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so before I put this on, I'm going to mouse it here. Right. Could I have the mousing wire and the snips, please? Thank you. Okay, we are moused on. Now I'm just going to put the little collar guy on. Alright, so fix is fixed. This is Loctited and moused on, and I'm just gonna get Yarana to do a quick series of checks to make sure nothing else is horribly wrong. So I'm gonna have him on the throttle doing forward and neutral and stuff. Okay, go ahead. Looks good. Success! I have an engine that works again. Super happy. Thanks for watching this week's video. I put up new videos on YouTube every 2 weeks, and for my patrons, you guys get a snack every week that there isn't a YouTube of a little 2 or 3 minute clip of something that I'm doing currently. Thank you so much to Tish for putting these videos from Dropbox for me onto YouTube. You are lovely. If you'd like to become a patron, my Patreon is patreon.com/WindHippie, and for one-time donations, my PayPal is paypal.me/WindHippie. Thanks for all of your lovely comments. I read them as soon as I get an internet connection, and one of you replied on last week's comment, "How did you answer this so quickly?" And it's because I happened to have an internet connection when the video went up, and I get really excited to be able to answer them in real time. So yeah, that was fun. I will see you guys in 2 weeks with another full-length video, and my patrons, I'll see you guys next week with another little snack. Thanks for watching.